problem based on solving quadratic equation. So here we are going to solve a quadratic equation by using the formula. So here the quadratic equation general form is of x square plus bx plus c equals to 0, in which, so here a is the coefficient of x square and as well as b is the coefficient of x, and whereas c as the real constant. So here we have to solve for the variable that is x in it, that is by means of the formula, which is nothing but x equals to, because since the quadratic equation is of second degree, so here it has two roots or two solutions. One is of x equals to minus b plus root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. The other one is of minus b minus plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac by 2a overall. So x equals to, put together, x equals to minus b plus or minus root of minus b square root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. So now the gen form, that is the general formula, the gen form of a quadratic equation here, the gen form or the general form of a quadratic equation is x square plus bx plus c equals to 0, whereas this coefficient of x square, that is a should not be equals to 0, that is a not equal to 0, and whereas the real constants are of b and c. So both b comma c, that is b and c, are belonging to the real numbers, that are the real constants. Whereas here, in which ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0, so a is the coefficient of x square and b is the coefficient of x, then c is the real constant. So here the coefficient of x square is equals to a, then the coefficient of x is equals to b, and whereas the real constant is of c. So this is the real constant, and in order to find out by using the formula, so here by using formula, so by using the formula, so in order to find out the x value, the formula is of minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac overall divided by 2a. So here, since this equation, that is the quadratic equation, is of x square plus bx plus c equals to 0, it is of second degree, it has two roots, one is of positive, the other is of negative. So let us perform an example or the problem based upon solving the quadratic equation or the QE by means of formula. So now the problem or an example. So we have to solve the quadratic equation, that is three x square plus 2 root 5x minus 5 is equals to 0. Then now solution starts now, whereas in our solution, as per problem, the quadratic equation which is given to us is of 3x square plus 2 root 5x minus 5 is equals to 0. So here this is our given quadratic equation. So here we can write it as, that implies 3x square plus 2 root 5x minus 5 equals to 0 implies ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0, which is the gen form of a quadratic equation, or in other words, this is the general formula. So, gen form of QE indicates general form of a quadratic equation. Then now, by comparing, so here by comparing indicates by comparing we have to compare the coefficients of these terms. So, here x square in the gen form, that is x square plus bx plus c equals to 0, x square coefficient is of a, whereas in the given equation x square coefficient is of a. So, here by comparing we get the a value as 3. So, we can write it as a equals to 3, and x coefficient is of positive b, that is b. So, here x coefficient is of positive 2 root 5. So, here we have to substitute b as 2 root 5. The latter constant c, that is a real constant, is of negative, that is minus 5. So, c must be replaced by means of minus 5 in order to get the value of x. So, here to solve this particular equation we have to solve for x, which is the variable. So, here x is the variable in this present equation, quadratic equation. So, we have to solve for x, but there are of 2 roots. So, here we can get that x value by means of the formula, that is minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac overall divided by 2a. Then now let us block it, since this is the formula. So, now in order to get the value, so x equals to, so here b must be substituted by 2 root 5 and a by means of 3 and c by means of minus 5 in this present equation. First of all, we have to write this negative sign as it is, then later we have to go for b. So, b value is of 2 root 5 plus or minus root of b square. So, b is of 2 root 5. So, it must be squared because it is of b square whole square minus 4ac, 4 into a value is of 3 into c value is of minus 5 within the bracket, because it is of negative it must be placed within the bracket, then overall divided by 2a. So, 2 into a is of 3 again. The next logical step will be of, so here x equals to minus 2 root 5 plus or minus root of, square is applicable for both, that is 2 and as well as root of 5. So, it is in the form of ab whole power m, but in its expansion, so ab whole power m can be expanded as m is applicable, this exponent m is applicable for both. So, based upon this identity, that is a power m into b power m. So, based upon this identity we are going to write this logical step, that is, so here 2 to the power of 2 into root 5 to the power of 2 minus, but minus of minus becomes plus, then now just we have to multiply 4 5s is of 20, 23 is of 60, overall divided by just 2 3s is of 6. Then now the next logical step will be of x equals to minus 2 root 5. So, that implies x equals to minus 2 root 5 written as it is, then now plus or minus under root 2 square and root 5 whole square, but whereas here we can cancel root and as well as 2. So, just 5 is left over, then now plus 60 overall divided by 6. So, here 5 plus 60 overall divided by 6 is left over to write. So, here into 5 plus 60 overall divided by, so here it is of 6. Then the next logical step will be of, so that implies x equals to minus 2 root 5 plus or minus under root 2 square is of 4 into 5 plus or 60 as it is overall divided by 6 again. So, that implies x equals to minus 2 root 5 then plus or minus root of 4 5s is of 20, 20 plus say here 60 overall divided by 6 again. So, that implies x equals to minus 2 root 5, then now plus or minus, so here 60 is of positive and 20 is also of positive, plus of plus is plus, we have to add up, 60 plus 20 is of 80. overall divided by 6. So to assess the sign here, so among 20 and 60, 60 is greater, its sign is of positive, 80 also assess the sign of positive. Then now, so x equals to, that implies, so x equals to minus 2 root 5 written as it is, plus or minus under root. So 80 can be written as, so here 16 5s, 5 6 is of 30, carry with 3, 5 ones is of 5 with plus 3 is of 80. So here instead 80, the factors are of 16 and as well as 5. So we can write 80 as 16 into 5 overall divided by 6 again. Then now that implies, so x equals to minus 2 root 5, then now plus or minus. So here also it is of AB. A value is of, when we consider A as 16 and B as B as 5, then root of AB can be written as, so root of AB under root AB can be written as, root is applicable for both, we can write it as, we can split it as root of A into root of B. So now it can be written as plus or minus root of, root is for 16 as per this reason. So here root of 16 into root of, just as root of A into root of B, we have to write it as root of 16 into root of 5 overall divided by 6 again. But whereas in the next logical step we can write 16 as 4 into 4. So here 16 can be splitted as 4 into 4, or in other words 4 is repeatedly multiplied. This 16 is multiplied as 4 into 4, or 4 is repeatedly multiplied twice. So we can write it as 4 square. So under root we can write as 4 square into root 5 as it is. So x equals to, in the next logical step, minus 2 root 5 plus or minus. So that implies x equals to minus 2 root 5 plus or minus. So under root 16 can be written as, 16 can be written as 4 square and into root 5 overall divided by 6. 4 square into root 5 as it is overall divided by 6. But here square and the root will be gets cancelled. Then no, the next logical step will be off. So that implies x equals to minus 2 root 5 plus or minus. So here just 4 is left over without root into root 5, that is 4 root 5 overall divided by 6. Then now, so there are of 2 roots here. So x can be written as, so here x equals to, that implies x equals to minus 2 root 5, one is of positive, plus 4 root 5 overall divided by 6 is one value, or x equals to minus 2 root 5. Then now I am going to take the negative one as the next one, that is minus 4 root 5 overall divided by 6. Then to simplify further, so we can write it as, that implies x equals to, so here root 5s are of 4, here root 5s are of 2, but one is of negative, one is of positive. So here these are the two like terms. So here minus of plus is plus, so minus of plus is minus, you have to subtract. Greater minus least, that is 4 minus 2 is of 2 root 5s. But among these, to assess the sign of 2 root 5, so here 4 is greater than 2, so 4 signs is of positive, it assesses the sign of positive, overall divided by 6 is the value. Or x equals to simplify further in the numerator, so here there are of 4 root 5s and here there are of 2 root 5s. Then now minus of minus is plus, we have to add up 4 and 2, that is of 6, 4 plus 2 is of 6, there are of 6 root 5s. To assess the sign here, we have to see the greater one among 2 and 4. 4 is greater than 2, 4 sign is of negative, so 6 root 5 can be assessed as negative sign, overall divided by 6. So here 6 is multiplied with root 5, 6 and 6 will be gets cancelled here, whereas here 2 1s in the numerator and 2 3s in the denominator. So here x value is of, therefore, so x is equals to plus positive 1, 1 into root 5 is of root 5, overall divided by 3 is the one value, or x equals to minus just root 5. So in this manner we got x value has. So here hence the roots of this equation, given equation are of, so x equals to 1 is of root 5 by 3 or minus root 5.